Hi guys, I'm Eileen. Today I want to talk about some of the new jewelry pieces. Some of you know I went through a stage where I was really into buying fine jewelry pieces. It wasn't a huge collection, but I wasn't using a lot of the pieces. So in the last 2 years, I did quite a bit of decluttering and I sold several pieces from my jewelry collection. If you're quite new to designer shopping, I think having a small jewelry collection can really help to complete your wardrobe. If your outfits are quite plain, for example, a pair of earrings or a necklace can really help to tie everything together and elevate the entire look. So even though I shop a lot less now after embracing luxury minimalism, I still like to check out new pieces. But I now browse with the intention to admire new beautiful designs rather than wanting to own every single piece. Anyway, let's take a look at these new pieces and dive into if they're worth buying. First of all, let's talk about the Van Cleef & Arpels holiday pendant for 2021, which is the vintage alhambra in rhodonite. Every year, Van Cleef releases their limited edition necklaces around the holiday season. These necklaces usually feature the vintage alhambra, and there's always a small diamond in the center of the pendant. The stone for these pendants is different every year, which is a surprise a lot of Van Cleef lovers look forward to around this time of the year. Anyway, the 2021 vintage alhambra in rhodonite has a light pink color. I think it looks beautiful, but it's not something I would buy because I prefer my jewelry pieces to be more versatile. Pink for me is quite a tricky color to style, especially because the vintage alhambra is quite a noticeable size. I personally prefer something a bit more neutral, such as the Mother of Pearl from 2013 and the Grey Mother of Pearl from 2014. Having said that, I'm actually not a big fan of the Van Cleef vintage alhambra necklaces. I much prefer the sweet alhambra instead. So to be honest, I never feel the urge to rush into buying their limited edition necklaces. But I do feel curious about what Van Cleef will bring out around this time of the year. Next, I want to talk about the Van Cleef Pearly Bracelet collection. I don't think I've spoken about this collection before, so I guess it's a good time to do that now. Within this collection, there are several options you can choose from, including the Van Cleef Pearly Signature Bracelet, the Pearly Clover Bracelet, the Pearly Diamond Pave Bracelet, and the recent addition Pearly Sweet Clover Bracelet. If you're looking for a daily bracelet, I think the Van Cleef Pearly Signature Bracelet is a good option, especially if you're looking for an alternative for the very popular and fairly recognizable Cartier Love bracelet. This bracelet is quite plain and simple, so it should be quite versatile and it should go well with a lot of outfits. However, I think the Cartier Love bracelet is more unisex, whereas the Van Cleef bracelet has quite a feminine touch to it. So I guess it really depends on your personal preferences. Previously, I was all for the Cartier Love bracelet, but now this Van Cleef signature pearly bracelet is really growing on me. However, my personal favorite from the pearly collection is the Van Cleef small pearly diamond pave bracelet. It looks so simple but yet sparkly and so timeless. I think you just can't go wrong with something like this. It will look lovely on just about everyone. I also really love the Van Cleef Clover bracelet on other people. It's such an exquisite piece, but I think it might just be a bit too substantial for my personal liking. Having said that, I guess if you keep other accessories quite minimal, these could make a fantastic statement piece. For some reason, I don't really like their latest addition, which is the Van Cleef Pearly Sweet Clover bracelet. I think the narrow band makes the diamond clover stand out quite a bit more, and the bracelet looks a lot more girly because of that. Let me know which one of these beautiful bracelets would you choose. I think it'd be so interesting to see what everyone says. The next one is a new jewelry collection from Tiffany & Co., which is the Tiffany Knot collection. I really love this collection. I think the knot design has quite a modern twist to it, and it just looks really refreshing. In fact, I love almost everything from this collection, apart from the necklaces, but that's because I personally prefer dainty necklaces. Anyway, I absolutely love the Tiffany knot earrings in rose gold. They just look so classy and gorgeous. I think they are subtle enough to be worn for all occasions, but at the same time, they will make quite a statement seeing the design is so special. Ever since embracing luxury minimalism, it had been quite a long time since I got so excited about a new item. But these earrings really speak to me for some reason, and I can picture myself wearing them. I think they go really well with my personality and dressing styles, but let me know what you think. If you are looking for something that will stand out a bit more, these earrings also come in the bigger size, but they do cost about twice the price. I personally prefer the smaller version because I think they are a lot more wearable and versatile. Therefore, the cost per wear should be lower. If you're building a minimalist fine jewelry collection, I think it's much better to splurge on something that will go well with everything rather than a statement piece that you only get to wear once in a while. I also want to touch on the Tiffany knot rings. They remind me of the Cartier Trinity rings, but the design is a lot cleaner. To be honest, I never really get the hype for the Cartier Trinity ring, which essentially is made of 3 interconnected rings. For me, it just looks a bit bulky and messy. Anyway, I love the Tiffany knot rings. I think Tiffany & Co. did a fantastic job with the design. I especially love the one in the smaller size and with diamonds. I just think this is such a fun and fashionable way to wear diamonds. Plus, the design is also quite simple and not too out there. My husband and I don't do luxury surprises for each other anymore, but I think if I ever want to celebrate a milestone or mark a special occasion with something nice, this ring is something I will consider. I think it will make such a fantastic gift. It's tiny but lovely. The next one is a fairly new line from Cartier, which is the Cloche de Cartier collection. I'm not the biggest fan of this collection because I find the design a bit too daring and edgy. You know sometimes how certain jewelry pieces just go well with everything and they look nice on everyone. For example, a pair of diamond stud earrings do just that in my opinion. The Cloche de Cartier collection, however, kind of sits on the other end of the spectrum, and I don't think a lot of people will carry these pieces very well. I've not tried them on in person, but they just look quite uncomfortable to wear, seeing there are so many bumps and edges. This Cloche de Cartier diamond ring, for example, looks really chunky, and I can just imagine the person wearing this ring might get quite a bit of discomfort just from doing simple chores like washing hands or writing. Then there's this Cloche de Cartier bracelet, which comes with spiky studs on the outside and onyx beads on the inside. As much as I appreciate statement pieces, I value my comfort so much more, so I wouldn't consider buying anything from this collection. In fact, I get quite a similar vibe when I look at the Cartier Ecru collection. Both lines feature very unconventional design, and they also don't look like the most comfortable things to wear. The next one is something from Mexico. I started looking into this brand more after I saw the Mexico Gigi Hadid earrings on Instagram. These earrings are completely sold out now, but I think they look so beautiful and one of a kind. Mexico was launched in 2005, so it's quite a new jewelry brand. I wouldn't say I like all their designs because some of their pieces are quite dressy and a bit too happening for me. However, there's a bracelet from this brand that I really like. In fact, every time I browse their website, This bracelet never fails to catch my attention, and I'm referring to the Messica My Twin Toy and Moi bracelet, and I especially love the one in white gold. This bracelet features 2 diamonds, one of which is a pear shape and the other one is an emerald. I really love that the 2 diamonds are in different shapes. There's something about the slight asymmetry that really speaks to me. Even though there are a lot of sparkles, I think this bracelet is actually quite wearable, seeing the design is very simple and the bracelet is also very dainty. If you are looking for something a bit more dressy, this bracelet also comes in the diamond pavé version, which looks incredible. This Messica bracelet actually reminds me of the show part Happy Heart bracelet, but I personally prefer the Messica one because I think it looks more chic and versatile. But please let me know which one would be your choice. So those are some of the new luxury jewelry pieces and my opinions about them. When I first started looking into luxury shopping, my focus was mainly on designer bags. So I would spend a lot of money on luxury handbags, but nothing else. So what happened was, I ended up with quite a collection of luxury handbags, but I had no other accessory or jewelry pieces. If you're trying to build your perfect minimalist wardrobe, my suggestion is try to spread your resources across different categories rather than heavily investing in just one area. I think having a small and curated jewelry collection can really complete your wardrobe. On that note, please let me know which one of these jewelry pieces is your favorite. I'm personally really drawn to the Tiffany & Co. knot earrings in rose gold. They are something I can definitely see myself wearing. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Have a nice day.